What's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast with Isaiah and I at THPStrength. Today, we are going to be talking about the approach for 1 foot and 2 foot jumping, specifically whether you should do a curved approach, whether you shouldn't, what some of the benefits are, our experiences, all that stuff. But obviously, you guys can tell that we have a new setup. So, well, I don't even know. Is this a new setup?
It's the old mics, but we're now in person talking to each other face to face.
It's the new mics with face-to-face Joe Rogan style.
Yeah.
We had to get an L-shaped table for this.
Yeah.
First time we've done it this way.
The last two podcasts were very low quality because of our lack of equipment, but
now we're filming with the MacBook, yeah. But our audio will sound really good. And I think the video is good enough. Plus, like, who wants to upload a 1080p video for 5 hours on YouTube?
Our goal is just to upload these as fast as possible.
To actually get them up.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's weird now because now I feel like it's an actual conversation.
I know. I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of want to face the camera the whole time. Actually, yeah, that's weird. I could like days off before. Now I have to stay focused.
We also have the doggy,
which is nice,
beneath us.
So it'll be a nice distraction when it gets awkward and we have nothing to say.
I don't think there'll be nothing to say.
But yeah, we'll close the podcast off if that happens. But all right, so yesterday we were talking with, we can't say his name, I guess, but the client that we're working with here, and he always has really good questions. And one of the questions he asked, well, he was asking like a bunch of questions. He's like, oh, why do I have to plant across my body on the plant foot? Why do I have to time up the block foot with my hands? And I was like, wow, these are like great questions I've just never even really thought to like answer, you know? Yeah. I mean, I've like thought of it before, but a lot of people don't ask them. And I was like, we can cover like why you should do a curved approach when you're trying to dunk. And this is like, I mean, this applies in game and out of game, I think.
And both 1 foot and 2 foot.
Yeah, 1 foot and 2 foot jumping. So I guess my experience with this obviously was high jump. So you obviously do a curved approach. You don't have to do a curved approach technically. Like you'll see some high jumpers, Lischenko, I think is his name, Lischenko. He actually, people call him like Mr. No Curve because he literally just runs straight at the bar. Like
he starts in the middle. And
No, but that would be sick. But you could do that. You could hypothetically just like dive over the bar. You know what I mean? And jump off 1 foot. Like you don't have to do, or you could do a diagonal approach. But high jumpers use the curved approach, and the first reason why they did it is because you generate centripetal force, and the angular momentum that you get from running really, really fast around a curve is greater than the lack of angular momentum from like the inward lean. And when you're running that fast and you're planning that quickly and you have like so much quick force, that braking is what like rotates you over the bar. But one of the other reasons that it's beneficial is that inward lean actually lowers your center of mass. So we talked about this before, but lowering is like one of the most important things when you jump off 1 foot or 2 feet. You're not able to just like if you were fully plantar flex, like up on your tippy toes and like blocking out your knees and your hips, you can't jump out of that position. You need to be flexed at those joints to be able to produce force, right?
Yeah.
So lowering is like giving you more time essentially to produce force with the muscles, and it also gives you more time to produce force because your body will have to move to vertical. And that curve actually functions to lower the athlete more, as well as allows them to lean inwards, and even you'll see like 1 foot jumpers lean backwards. So that actually helps with braking forces, and the braking forces give you more vertical impulse, meaning like you're able to produce more force on the ground, which lets you go vertically faster, which means you're going to jump higher. So by leaning inwards and backwards in the curve, then you obviously have more lift off the ground. So what you'll see in like these things are also consistent in 2 foot jumping as well. I think that like whether you jump off 1 foot or 2 feet, you don't always have to be leaning backwards or inwards. But I do think that if you are leaning backwards in the case of 2 foot jumping, that you actually will maybe have an easier time braking. If you look at like, and braking's good because it'll help you go more vertical and kind of skip off the ground. If you look at someone like CJ or Chris Staples, especially off the dribble, they're really leaned forwards and they never really get tall at the plant. Like they kind of lean forward the whole time until the plant, and then like use their hips loaded up because they're in flexion. They're like in a hinged position to get lift off the floor. And I think that like is one potential way to do it. But if you look at a lot of 2 foot jumpers, they don't do that. Like peak if you look at the best 2-foot jumpers when they're doing like a height check or they're going for like a vertec max touch, they actually don't do that. They'll usually be really vertical. Like if you see anyone at dunk camp from 2019, you or actually not you in that one, but on your vertec, your best vertec. But if you watch Jordan, you watch Jay Clark, they're like super vertical. You know what I mean? They're and they'll say like staying back and staying tall like actually helps. I can't allow myself to rotate forwards. And I've heard like Jordan Canary actually told me that when he was at dunk camp. He's like, oh, I feel like I'm just like falling forward. Like I can't stop myself. So I definitely think that like staying back definitely helps you from rotating. And I do think rotation actually does happen in 2-foot jumping, especially guys that get the block foot like pretty far out in front of them and are pretty quick off the ground. That's why you'll see guys kind of be like sideward on distance dunks because they have so much speed and they're breaking so quickly on that block foot.
Yeah.
Their body will start to rotate. But
that's actually one of the first cues that I ever got when I was that was one of the first cues that I ever got when I was learning jump technique first. I think it was Adam Linkenauger. He like had videos on like Linkenauger.
He was a high jumper, I think.
Yeah, he had videos on like jump technique and stuff. He actually worked with Jordan Kilgannon. It's possible he might have got this from him. I don't know. But I know in the past he did work with him. Like they were like trying to make a jump program. It just never happened. But one of the things he always said was stay tall during your approach, like chest up, like during your penultimate. So when I was first learning how to jump, like I always like focus on like keeping my chest up, keeping my eyes on the rim.
Sutherland does that.
Yeah.
Sutherland like arches his back like a lot when he jumps.
Yeah, we were talking about his jump technique, and John replicated it perfectly.
It's like a stomp, and he
stomps, and his chest is super like far out, and he kind of chicken wings,
bird wings,
like,
yeah. So I know you're not listening to this, but if you are, you chicken wing your arms.
Yeah.
I don't think he's listening, so I'm not worried. But if you are, we love you. Anyways, yeah, I do think that like kind of coming back to the curved approach thing. So it's like, okay, well, what does that have to do with running a curve as a dunker, right? Like, what's the point? This isn't high jump, and we're just talking about body angles. Well, if you're leaning inwards and you're planting across your body, I think that you can actually lower more on the penultimate step and on the plant foot. I also think that by running a curve, you get more of those rotational forces in and the lateral forces in, which are obviously pretty important. I think that it makes it easier to, like, you can come straight at it. I think that, like, obviously you can do that. But I do think that what you'll do is kind of use, like, a diagonal, like, you will plant the foot diagonal across your body, you know? And I think that, like, a lot of the time.
If you use a curve on 1 foot?
No, I'm saying, like, on 2 foot, you're always going to plant across your body. You know, yeah, on like, even on 1 foot, that's still going to happen. Like, you'll see guys, like, they both 1 foot and 2 foot, you'll plant on the outside.
Yeah.
Well, it's the outside of your heel, of your plant foot. And
it's like the left outside of your heel.
I think that, like, that just gets the lateral forces involved. I think that, like, when you're a 2 foot jumper and you have the block foot involved, that this is definitely Austin telling us we have to leave. We will leave, Austin. This is so funny. So I think that, like, either way, you're going to benefit from running a curve because you're either going to lower more or you're going to have an easier time potentially getting the foot across the body, or you're going to end up being having a diagonal action at the plant anyways. Like, even if the radius is, like, absurd, I feel like running a little bit of a curve, even as a jump, like a 1 foot jumper, it opens up my hips a little bit and it makes it easier to get, like, a big push on the penultimate step. But that's all because my hips are kind of screwed up. But, like, for you're even going to come at a little bit of a curve. Like, if you're coming at the vertec or something, like, you're never just running, I feel like, straight at it. Like, the majority of people won't.
Yeah, I'm always to the left side. I actually don't know how I like auto-regulate it. Like, I don't. Oh,
I don't think you think. I don't really think you think about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm curious how much variety it has, like, on my like consistency. Variation? Yeah, because I know. At least for the vertec, I feel like it just kind of, I go to, like, what feels right. Like,
yeah. No, the same thing's true for high jump for me. There's, like, a spot where I'm like, yeah, that feels right. That's the right distance away, and it's, like, the right amount in or out, and it just, like, makes it easier to take off. And I think the same thing's true with dunking. I'll be like, that's not the right spot, like, for me. Like, this is the spot that feels best. And then you just kind of have this, like, inward knowing. I mean, it's like a sense of proprioception. You just, like, kind of know where to stand.
Yeah.
And, like, some people don't have that.
It's like, imagine there's, like, a circle, and that's, like, the perfect spot to, like, approach from, and everything feels right and balanced. And then when you're outside of that circle, there's like a weird staticky feeling, like it feels wrong.
It doesn't
like,
feel like it does. It doesn't feel fluid. You feel
it's like doing something lefty when you're not lefty.
Exactly. Like, before you even start, it's a confident. You don't feel confident.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't feel confident. I could get that from this position. But like as you move over, you're like, yup. Mm-hmm. It's like I definitely hit the fucking bullseye.
Have you ever?
Right
there. Have you ever played an instrument before?
Yeah, one time I
played.
Or
a guitar.
I did. I played guitar.
You know when you tune a guitar?
I've done it like once.
Yeah. So when I used to be in band, I used to play the trumpet, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing that you do before band practice is the entire band has to get in tune. So you'll literally play a single note. I think it was like a C that the conductor would have us play, the teacher. And everybody plays a C, and it sounds super wonky at first. So the trumpets go, and it's like, and like it sounds super out of tune. And then you move the little thing on the trumpet.
Oh, really?
And like it adjusts the pitch. And then you can sense it. Like you do it one person at a time. So like I'll tune with you until we're like perfect, and it's super out of whack. And then you hit that like perfect like note, and then it sounds good. It sounds in tune. That's exactly how it feels. Like that perfect. Yeah. So that's that perfect spot on the court or the track or whatever. Like you're out of tune, and then once you step into that perfect spot, it's like everything's in tune.
It's like, oh, I feel good. Like this feels good. This is where it's supposed to be. And I think like, yeah, I mean, mostly the biggest thing, the whole point of this was to say it, like from high jump, from 2 foot, whatever else, it's easier to lower. If you have inward lean, it's easier to be lower. I think that like whether that happens because the slight lean just makes it easier for you to like balance or something, or maybe like the braking forces can be better and higher as like a 2 foot jumper. I haven't really looked at inward lean with 2 foot jumpers. I feel like off the dribble it happens a lot,
especially on spin dunks. I feel like spin dunks,
it's
super, like it's more important than
on spin dunks. I feel like you even curve the approach more, right? Like,
yeah
like
that's what I'm saying. It's
almost impossible. Oh yeah, I honestly I really think it's like by doing that curve, you have the plant foot cross the body more, and that lets you get the block foot to come around further and faster, and then that's what like generates that rotation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think like a lot of people will say, oh, like let your leg keep coming around the curve in high jump, and that's like how you spin. But I think the same thing's true in 2 foot. Like your block foot just keeps coming around, you know, like you plant the foot and then like the block foot just keeps coming around and then you're spinning. And
it's like a top or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's literally, it is like a top. Like you plant that foot and then the block foot just keeps whipping around like a top, comes around, and then you're spiral, you're spinning as you come around.
It's like a top coming off a ramp.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't, yeah. Actually, yeah, it's kind of weird. That's kind of what high jump is too. You're really jumping and spinning and spiraling, but you're also flipping as well. So yeah, I feel like, based on that, we don't have a ton of time. We gotta go coach.
I think general recommendations: if you're a 2 foot jumper, left, right, start a little more to the left. If you're a 2 foot jumper, right, left, start a little more to the right.
Yep. And
then curve inwards towards your plant leg.
Yeah. You want to lean in towards. Yeah. You want to basically drop your shoulder, like your. Damn, that's really hard. If you're left, right, you want to drop the plant foot. Whatever the plant foot is. That's the shoulder that you're like you're leaning into. Yeah, you're like leaning into. And then if you're a 1 foot jumper, you would want to, you want to lean. Yeah, you lean in towards you curve and lean in towards the plant foot, towards the plant foot.
Yeah.
Like away from the rim, I guess. And then, yeah, same thing's true of the right foot. You know, you just want to curve towards the takeoff leg. So. Yeah, I feel like that covers it.
Yeah. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you give it a 5-star rating. Also, screenshot wherever you're watching or listening. Tag us in a story. We will repost your story on our Instagram pages. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. And thank you guys for watching. Go to THPStrength.com if you want to get online coaching, best training on the planet. Peace out, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.